Clappedseal, also known as Clappy, is a furry online video SAS YouTube channel. Over the past year, Clappedseal has found himself in many of controversy, from severely mishandling the ZeroNeedsCoffee allegations to being an incredibly oversensitive person who overreacts to the slightest thing, causing a massive controversy around his name in regards to Turkey Tom. And in today's video, we're going to be looking at his past and present actions.
I didn't want to make this video. I used to think that was a cop-out thing to say, that it was disingenuous or they didn't really mean it. But I understand it now. Making a video like this is done to inform the public of a threat.
And that threat, ladies and gentlemen, is Clappedseal. Clappedseal, like most video essayist and commentary YouTube channels, started off making gaming videos before swiftly going into the stereotypical commentary-based content. But in today's video, his past in badly made commentary videos is not what's up for discussion. We're going to be talking about his failures and mishaps. One of these extreme mishaps was early last year, when Clappedseal released a video on fellow commentator ZeroNeedsCoffee, alleging some very serious things.
During December 2022, up until just a few weeks ago, ZeroNeedsCoffee was in contact with a 16-year-old fan of his that he had received and condoned explicit pictures from. Zero was 18 during the course of their contact, and the victim was 16. The age of the victim was only a concern to Zero months into their conversation.
Clappedseal's poorly made video makes it out to be that ZeroNeedsCoffee is the next big EDP-like figure. The video in question puts heavy emphasis on the 2-year age gap between Zero and the person he was speaking to, painting it almost as a criminal and getting into calls with him and interrogating him profusely.
Like I was like doing something wrong, or I was being like a pedophile or something. I thought 18 and 16 was fine. It was because
Well, are you sure you didn't know it was wrong? Because on the 25th on the 25th of March.
It doesn't make it right. Me not knowing it was wrong doesn't make it right. You know, like that's not my point. But I'm just telling you like where my head was at. You know.
Well, it proves that you had some guilt behind it, that you knew what you're doing had consequences, and yet you still proceed to think. Even for a passing thought, what he was doing was wrong is a lie. A lot more of what we talked about the messages didn't give me any more information that I already knew. He admitted to them all. He took accountability, and there's not much more to add than what we already had.
Clappedseal's video took every precaution necessary to make ZeroNeedsCoffee come off as malicious as possible, framing it that ZeroNeedsCoffee effortlessly searched for this person, trying to find the right person to pick.
ZeroNeedsCoffee is a YouTube channel of nearly 900,000 subscribers. He used that power and influence to pluck a person out of the audience and start talking to him. This wasn't someone he had known for years. This was the same day that they met. At any point, given the opportunity, this could have happened again. Knowing Zero, I personally didn't believe it would.
In actuality, this was just not the case. The video also focused too heavily on the fact that ZeroNeedsCoffee wouldn't stay off Twitter instead of the allegations at hand, mishandling the situation entirely.
Freak people out or get concerned over Zero, we allowed Zero to just log out of the socials. In doing so, we were putting a lot of trust in Zero, and we made that very clear in the call. We told him if he couldn't keep that trust in, well, things would go a bit different.
Well, that's kind of you, allowing him to log out of his own socials. I'm sure this won't be an ongoing point throughout the fucking video.
On my phone, Zero had uploaded a video. I'm fixing my YouTube channel, accompanied with a post to his Twitter, a change in YouTube banner, another video about God of War, and with a pinned comment linking to his Twitter.
I just want to talk to him.
Why do you have a shotgun?
I just want to talk to him.
Dad, this is ridiculous.
I just want to talk to him. I just want to talk to him. I just want to talk to him.
I could not tell you what his thought process was here. I don't know why he made this. So 2 days later, me and Ace arranged to have a call. First thing we talked about was a tweet he made, and his activity that he had been seen doing on social media.
Basically just like Samuel.
You know how people talk about like a digital footprint and that? We can see that you've been online more than just that one tweet.
I just Twitter and saw that tweet.
So you checked his Twitter, so you logged in to Twitter.
Yeah, I did.
So you have logged in and out to Twitter multiple times. It hasn't just been once.
When we called last night, the no Twitter at all. I don't think we made a single excuse for it.
I also
I'm not using Twitter anymore. Sorry.
Yeah, but at the same time, Zero, I almost can't trust your word on that sort of thing. You posted a link on your latest video. You posted a comment on your latest video. You pinned it. You asked people to go follow your Twitter. And you went to Twitter.
I don't know, but I think Zero might have logged on to Twitter.
I am truly sorry to the people who were excited about Zero's return to form. To the ones that thought this was some redemption arc, and that everything was cool and awesome. I wish it could be like that.
After this video, Zero's chance of redemption was practically zero. His reputation had been completely slandered, regardless of the fact that the majority of people that saw this video spoke out against Clappedseal. The labels that Clappedseal and others had inferred on his name were already starting to stick. Although the messages that Zero was sending were degenerate, cringe, and some would say weird and bizarre, he was not a predator, and to infer that was just slandering his name. The video completely mishandled the situation and needed to be directed in a different direction. Even the thumbnail was wrong by claiming that Zero had spoken to more than one 16-year-old instead of the 16-year-old that was in the video, something that again was just wrong. Clappedseal about the video had made statements on Twitter and even one in my DMs. Something that I regret during that period was not being more harsh on him in DMs. What he did was wrong and his video was deplorable. From that moment on, in the smaller subsections of commentary, Clappedseal would have a bad name and a bad reputation. People wouldn't trust him and people memed him and Zero to death. It was after the ZeroNeedsCoffee video where Clappedseal would fully launch into the furry side of things, making some videos and very questionable thumbnails about furries and the topic around it. One of these videos questioned the idea if furries were minorities, a video that ended up getting memed to death. Clips from this video and others alike on his channel started spreading around on Twitter and other social media platforms.
Nothing in the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. This passage can be found in a 1963 book, Strength to Love, authored by none other than Martin Luther King.
The reason these videos ended up being subject to popular memes and jokes was because of how Clappedseal reacted to a joke by Turkey Tom. Tom posted this obviously satirical tweet about the problems with Palestine. It's clearly a joke and nothing to take seriously. But in response, Clappedseal launched a full attack against him, claiming some pretty big things. It was completely unnecessary to react this way to a simple joke and just gave people more fuel to add to the ever-growing fire against Clappedseal. People's jokes against Clappedseal over this ended up getting to him, showing a more vulnerable side to him, where he ended up spurging out against the commentary community and others that were making jokes against him and critiquing him for his response to Turkey Tom. One tweet got these sensitive mosquitoes swarming round to defend their master, pathetic ass. Couldn't take 45 minutes away from dick riding to learn the answer was no. Racist little loser reading story tales for his child who wants to fall asleep to, even with your homies think it commentary filled with snakes like you. Remember, plenty of these commentary channels would rather house racist freaks in their circles to exploit for content. They were on my side when I trust furry creators, they fake as fuck. I release positive videos next, all the negative shit is just what they want from me. I'd love to air out all my hatred for these commentary snakes right now, but I ain't got the time. Put a pin in this conversation, let me come back later. They all manipulative liars and they know all of this was in response to people using the MLK clip and others like it against Clappedseal, trying to make the joke narrative that he was trying to say that furries were minorities. In his video, he ends up coming to the conclusion that it was a no, but people were using the concept and idea to poke fun at him, and he just couldn't handle it, so he decided to make all these tweets and spurg out. At this point, I actually reached out to Clappedseal in a pretty calm and respectful manner, just trying to gauge what he was actually talking about. He was trying to discuss a racist hive mind, and trying to come up with all these conspiracy theories about commentary for no apparent reason other than the fact that he didn't like Turkey Tom's joke tweet and that people were making fun of him. When I asked for examples about this racist hive mind, he reacted in a pretty aggressive way and in a pretty confrontational way. I asked pretty politely, and that was really the end of the conversation, because from that point on, he didn't respond to any of my messages, and he continued to spurg out on Twitter. By this point, it was pretty much a lost cause for Clappedseal. He kept spurging out, digging a massive hole for himself, as bigger content creators were taking a big shit on him, and thousands of people on Twitter were making memes and jokes against him. Just like the ZeroNeedsCoffee situation, I reached out to this guy in DMs, wanted to know his thought process and what he was genuinely thinking, and instead I got met with a pretty apprehensive person who by this point was turning against all his friends or anybody who was genuinely asking questions about him. He was pretty much a lost cause at this point, with him making more tweets about furry rallies, just adding fuel to the fire. People would make jokes, including myself, and he would end up blocking every single commentator who had any connection to people making jokes against him. He tried to twist these pretty clear jokes into a negative narrative by trying to suggest that we were trying to frame the guy and that we were taking a lot of this stuff out of context, when in reality that was not the case. People making jokes about some of the behavior he'd exhibited and some of the stuff he had said or ideas he had put across in video.
Category, I may cause an issue by undermining what their minority went through. I may be ignoring any historical context which allowed these groups to constitute the term minority. I can rationalize that thinking, I'm queer myself, and it's going to take a bit of effort to move around that and come to a conclusion that satisfies all parties. When I asked my community what they thought about labeling furries as as a minority group, nearly all of the comments identified the term was insensitive to already established minority groups.
Didn't need a 45-minute video to tell me a pretty clear-cut answer. Overall, Clappedseal is somebody who mishandles situations, including responses and jokes, and just doesn't quite get the internet or what he's dealing with. I find it pretty funny and ironic that a commentator like himself can't handle a simple joke about the content that he makes. He's a complete joke and nobody should take him seriously. He also made a couple of videos and called me Carson.